Alright, so today's video we will just quickly go through with this local version control system that we saw earlier, which is that revision control system. Now in this revision control system, or RCS, is basically a set of Unix commands which helps with this version control, and this RCS operates on some revision groups, and these revision groups is basically a set of text which calls revision. So RCS organizes the revision in an ancestral tree where the initial revision is basically the root of that tree, and then when we make more revision, those revision will be stacked on top of that initial or root revision, right? So in order to use this revision system or the RCS system, first we need to install this RCS in our system. So we are using this Ubuntu 20.04 version, and what I will quickly do is I will change the user access to root, as we have to do some installation of that system, though I'm not going to do it because I already have this RCS installed. So what actually we need to do is first we need to install this RCS system, and in order to do that we need to use the command called sudo apt install RCS. And as Ubuntu is the Debian family of the Linux distribution, so we are using this package management called apt. However, if you are using any other distribution family from this RHEL, for example CentOS and all, then you need to use the package management to yum. So sudo yum install an RCS, and that will install RCS for you. Right, so now what we will do is we will actually go into our desktop, and we will create a folder called RCS, and inside RCS we will create a file called test file. So let's create a file, touch rcs dot txt. Right, now we know that we can use some of the command like man and help to know more about different commands, right? So if we actually try to do man RCS, it actually gives a whole lot of information about this RCS. So it says that RCS is the change RCS file attributes, and the RCS is going to be the core command that we'll be using at the beginning. And there are different options. We can see we will be using -i, which means initialization. So now the documentation, this documentation has all the options that you can use with RCS, and of course there are descriptions as well that what actually they are, right? So this is definitely a good way to learn any sort of commands in Linux. So if we are not covering everything in this video, you still can go through with this man command to know more about different options that you can use. Now the first thing we will do is initialization. So we need to initialize this RCS in order to track that file that we created. So what actually we will do is we'll simply call RCS -i and then the file name, and this will initialize the RCS control on that file. Now we can see that it's bringing us this prompt where actually it's telling us to provide the description of this revision, so that whenever we come back later on, we know actually what this revision is about. So we need to give some name, let's say revision for RCS. So once we are done, we need to use this dot and then press enter. We can also see it written over here that we need to in order to terminate this description prompt, we need to use a single dot, and then we need to press enter, and then it will bring us back to the terminal. Now we haven't added anything to our text file yet, right? So let's actually use this nano text editor in order to enter some document inside. So let's say that something like this is the first line in this text file, and then we will save it. So Control S, Control X, and it's saved, and now we are out of this text file. So now what we just did is just making some changes within that file as we will be doing normally, right? So once we are done, we need to now make a revision for these changes. Now it is noteworthy that saving the file is not same as creating a revision. So in order to create a revision, what we need to do is the command called CI. So CI means check in. So now what we'll do is CI, and then we need to mention the name of that file, CI rcs.txt. So now RCS will create a new file system with this comma v. So we can see that this RCS now has been converted into rcs.txt, and our initial revision number is 1.1. So if we actually do ls, we can see that we no longer can see this rcs.txt over here, right? But of what we can see is rcs.txt with this new file format, comma v file format. So now if we actually want to see what actually is inside this rcs.txt minus v file, we can see that there are a lot of other information like the user details when we created these revision, and along with that we have this description that we added for this RCS revision, and the comment that we added, right? So all of these are there along with the information that we have added inside that text file. It is again point to be noted that whenever we are actually calling the file name, we'll always use the file name what we have. So for example, this rcs.txt, so we are not going to be worried about that -b file format. Okay, all right, so now we have created a revision. Now whatever if we want to edit that file, so we need to use another command called co, and co means checkout. So we need to use co, and here's the system of this RCS that whenever we want to modify anything with that file, we need to log that file if multiple people works on the same file. So what will happen is, let's say that if you are not logging that file, and in the meantime someone else submitted their changes, so there will be some conflict between the teams, right? So that's why we need to lock this file with the option -l, so that no one else or no other user can make changes to the file while this file is locked by us. So only we will be able to make changes to this particular file. So we will do this check out co -l to lock this file, and then we need to mention the file name, so which will be rcs.txt, not rcs.txt, v. So once we are done, press enter, and now we can see that from that version format that we had, now it's been changed back into this rcs.txt, and with this revision, we can see that it's been logged. So now if we do ls, we'll be able to see that rcs.txt is back over there. So now let's do another thing, that we will be making some changes to that rcs.txt file again. And now let's say that this is the second line for the second revision. So now we made further modification, right? So the same way that we created the revision, we need to follow the same pattern again. So what we will do is ci, and then we need to mention the file name and press enter. So now we can see that this rcs.txt file is going back into the previous file format that we had, and this time is saying that the new revision is going to be 1.2 and our previous revision was 1.1. Now it is asking us to enter some log message. So let's say this is revision 1.2, press enter, and now dot to end these log message. So press enter, and then we are done, right? So in this way we made another revision. So it will be continuously going on. So let's say that we will be doing that further modification, another one, maybe rcs.txt, and then nano RCS. So I will say that I deleted this word from this line. Now let's make another revision quickly. So ci RCS. So this is going to be our revision 1.3, enter, dot, that's it. So let's do one thing. So we know that if we actually do let's say get and then RCS, so we can see all the log file and log details that we added, right? Everything is here, right? So now we know that we can use this checkout command to log the file and then edit. We can also use this checkout command to see what we have inside our file, and this always shows us the the latest revision that we did. So we can see that our final revision was 1.3, so we only can see that. So now if we want to see any specific version, then what we need to do is we need to use the co and then use another option called -r, means revision, and we want to see revision number 1.1. so remember that there is no gap between this -r and the version number. So 1.1 and the file name, and now we will be able to see that the revision that we had, the first revision revision 1.1. and now let's say that we want to make modification on that 1.1, right? So what we can do is the same way we need to log it, and this time we need to mention that we want to make changes to this revision number 1.1 and then the file name. Press enter. So now we can see that this -b format has been again get back into the rcs.txt, and it's been logged for revision 1.1 instead of 1.3. So now if we do get RCS. So see, we actually see only the first line that we had. So if we do nano rcs.txt, you remember we added only that first line, so we can see that what we had in that version 1.1. Another line added for revision 1.1. Right, let's do this CI and RCS. So we will create another revision, and this is, as you have noticed, so this is revision 1.1.1.1. So we are creating a sub branch of that tree that we had the revision 1.1. Now has been created a branch of that previous revision that we had. So press enter. So this way we can create new revision, new branches for any of the previous revisions that we had, right? So now let's quickly have a look to one of the other command that we can use, which is rlog. So we want to see all the revision log that that we have created so far. So rlog and the file name, and now we can see that all the revisions that we have made, who was the author, how many lines we have added or removed. If there was no changes made, it was like 0, so we added one line in this new revision of 1.1.1. There was one new line added, but we did not remove any line, right? So it was minus 0. So if we did not made any sort of changes, there would be no information given. So in this way we can see all those information regarding our revisions. Alright, so that would be all for today's tutorial, and in the next one we will dive into Git. And if you guys have any question in the meantime about this RCS, please do let me know. As always, do explore the other options that we can utilize with any sort of command. You know the command to use, man. So man RCS, and man RCS will give you the details of different options, the options that we have been using throughout this video. So if you don't understand anything, please explore this command to know more about it. So I hope this video was useful for you, and if so, please do give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to comment if you don't understand anything.